So, welcome to an unofficial show for Now TV. Actually, on the site, moving stuff around because we've added so much content that it's like becoming an endless scroll. So, I'm going to actually break like the breakdown Survivor Story Saturday so that they have their own page. But I thought I would jump on because what the heck happened? Really, when you think about it, we started Church of Real Talk, last year? The Now movement officially started the middle of July. And so much has gone on, and I've learned so much stuff. I really have. Maybe I should clear something up. People are under the thought pattern that I'm doing this to get back at my narcissistic abuser. Maybe at the very, very first few seconds, maybe I might have thought that way. But when I learned a few things, those people just got out of the picture. They don't even exist in this picture. This is bigger than me. It's definitely bigger than them. It's about being of assistance, something that we've talked about here at the Church of Real Talk since the very beginning, being of assistance. Now, some of the things that I've learned is that empaths are kind of the chosen ones when you think about it. The black sheep of the family who goes out there and saves the family and makes sure that they actually show the world that not everybody is dysfunctional, sometimes pointing out the dysfunction to those family members. The black sheep of the family, an empath, a chosen one. When you look at what we're doing here at the Now movement, if this is not living in one's purpose and trying to help others, I don't know, I need to go find another job. Because we're actually getting people out of this crazy fog, this crazy distorted reality that is being thrust upon them by the narcissist. Well, kind of helping with that. And one other thing that I actually did learn, and this is going to sound crazy, you know how they always say empaths need to be careful because people will come and drain their energy. You know, not just the narcissists. People kind of gravitate towards empaths because I think at a very core level, they can sense that this person wants to be of assistance. But what I found out is, and put it in the comments if you disagree, but we're like bounty, triple layered, quicker picker-uppers. We absorb so much pain as empaths. I mean, absorb. Not just being drained, not feeding others. We absorb so much pain. It's almost like sometimes we'll come out of certain situations where we've actually been of assistance, or in the narcissist case, just fed their need for supply, where we feel so drained. And this is why the dynamic that I believe that the dynamic between narcissists and empaths really needs to be understood, because the narcissist will always gravitate. If they had a choice of people that they're going to destroy, they're going to want to destroy that empath because they know that deep down inside, that empath wants to do nothing but fix the problem. And they bet on that. They count on that. And that's why they can string these relationships on for years, sometimes even decades, because they're constantly going to get supply, because the inherent need of an empath is to fix people, to make people feel better, which leads to the shadow. Why do empaths feel this way? Why do they go out of their way to try to fix broken people? Why do they put themselves at risk, especially in domestic narcissistic relationships? Why do they put themselves at risk to try to help someone become the better version of themselves? Well, if you follow along and if you understand, I'm just getting a grasp of it, what Carl Jung had to say is that empaths and narcissists, they kind of come from the same pot, the same cauldron, because it all stems from trauma and how we deal with said trauma. As empaths, we actually experienced something that broke us. It broke us to our core. It made us feel hurt. It made us feel abandoned. It made us feel not loved. And the same thing happens to narcissists. It really does. Not the same exact thing that happened to you, but something broke them. Now, the empath, this is why we are chosen. We take a different path. We automatically decide at some point that little switch goes off in our head and says, listen, I don't want anybody to feel how I feel. And then we bury that pain. The narcissist decides that I want everybody to suffer for what I went through. And in a sense, they bury their pain, but they're always aware of it. That's what mental health professionals call their shame shadow. They know it's always there, and they go through their whole lives trying to push that shadow down. So they create a false reality of themselves. They manipulate people. They do all this crazy stuff to make sure that the shame stays way down there. And they say, hey, listen, if I'm torturing people, if I'm making people feel bad, if I'm making people feel like they're not worthy, hey, I can keep that shame down a little bit longer. It's a sad state of affairs, but this is why the Church of Real Talk has taken on this whole Now initiative, no other way but forward. Because what's happening is, when you look at it in a spiritual way, as chosen ones, this is kind of like all of our rituals boils into one. Our pain ritual, our isolation ritual, our learning how to be resilient ritual. That's all boiled into a narcissistic relationship. You're going to get all of those mandatory, you've got to go through these rituals, food groups from the narcissist. So in a sense, I think, and this is if you believe in a higher power, if not, if you believe in the universe, I think this is done somewhat on purpose to help the empath become chosen, to help the empath find their purpose and move forward with being of assistance to others. Now, there's a little wrinkle to that, though. Remember that thing that I talked about a few minutes ago about that shadow, that thing that's deep down inside of us? The last ritual is that you have to deal with it. You have to confront it. You have to actually learn how to accept it as being part of your being, because that's the same exact thing that made you into an empath. I do workshops, okay? I do, especially for veteran organizations. I actually did a workshop in transitional housing for veterans this past Monday. And one of the things that I talked about was controlling our emotions. And I kind of segued into, it's how we feel about ourselves inside when we lose control, when we blow up. We're in the holiday season. And if you're in transitional housing, you're missing your family, you're missing your loved ones, you're missing the freedom that you used to have during this time of the year. And it causes a lot of stress. And you have some people, narcissists all over, you have some people that will just push people's buttons to get a reaction to make themselves feel better. And the group that sits down with me, I had to tell them, I was like, you can't let people push your buttons. You know, I'm teaching them the way of how to go gray rock, how to go no contact with people that wish to do nothing but frustrate you. These are the things that I'm pushed to do. These are the things that I'm pushed to research. These are the things that I want to share with others. As an empath, we can see, especially once you get clarity, we can see those that are for us and those that are against us. Those that are for us want our gifts. Can't give too much of yourself. You've got to think about self first. You can't help nobody if you're laying in a heap someplace, okay? But they want our gifts. They understand our purpose. They understand our mission. Those that are against us just want to stop the mission. My abuser, when I first started the Church of Real Talk, every time we got into a disagreement, we got into an argument, the Church of Real Talk was being thrown in my face. Little did I know the reason behind it was because even if I didn't see how valuable it was on its way to becoming, they did. They did. And they knew the person that I was not going to get on front of camera not knowing nothing. I'm going to do research. I'm going to find out stuff. Again, everything happens for a reason. One time I said to them, I was like, if we're talking about this, what does the Church of Real Talk have to do with that? You're wasting your time. Nobody believes that stuff, this, that, and the other. Well, you didn't want anybody, you especially didn't want me to believe it. Because the Church of Real Talk was what opened the door to learn about domestic narcissistic abuse and to give me clarity to say, hey, listen, even though my nervous system has been screaming at me for the last 5 years that this is wrong, now I know for sure that it's wrong. Now that I have clarity, that's part of the reason why we do the stuff that we do. That's why we do workshops. That's why we do, these videos. This is why we reach out to people and say, hey, listen, tell your story on Survivor Story Saturday. You'll be surprised the amount of people that you can help just by sharing your truth. This is why we do everything that we do. I mean, it seems like everything, because I wake up in the morning and this is my focus. How can I reach another empath? How can I pull another empath up out of this fog? Okay, because they don't deserve to be here anymore. And then now on top of that, I'm actually on the board of another organization. I'm their media and tech guy. So I'm on a board of another organization, and I'm still being of assistance, and I'm still helping people. And in fact, after I finish this video, I have to go help set up a food pantry where, surprisingly enough, I'm going to get the keys. So, if there's someone in this community that's in need, they just contact me and I make them a package of food. Nobody should be lost in the fog. Nobody should be hungry. Nobody should be homeless. Okay, we've got enough stress on our plates that these shouldn't be a factor, especially if you live in this country. That shouldn't be a factor, but it is. So what we try to do here at the Church of Real Talk, and now with Love and Truth, that organization, we try to meet people where they need the assistance, where they need the help, where they're at. So maybe the first 15 seconds of coming up with the whole idea of the Now movement, I was like, now I can get them back. I'm going to tell my truth, and I'm going to expose them, and I'm going to expose the mask. But that would have made me a petty person. I'd rather expose all the masks. I'd rather dissolve every mask so that empaths can go out there and enjoy the life that they deserve. So that narcissists no longer have the power to disrupt and overturn people's lives with chaos. I don't think that's a bad goal. When I wake up in the morning, no matter how tired I am, if I look at my phone and I got a message from the founder of Love and Truth, like, hey, can we talk about this? Can we do this? I don't feel bad. I don't feel overwhelmed. But, and this is a big but, and I think I'm going to grab another sip of coffee, and then we're going to talk about this, because the movement needs to grow, because it's growing on its own, and the expansion is like, I'm like in those old cowboy movies, holding on to the reins, oh! All right, let's get into that right about, I'm thinking nowish. One of the things that I actually realized was I do not stop to look at the wins. I just keep on moving forward. And somebody brought that to my attention. They was like, you wrote that book, you didn't even take time to celebrate. Oh, there's no time to celebrate. There are a lot of people that need to be reached. There are a lot of people that need help healing. There are a lot of people that just need clarity on figuring out what the hell is going on in their lives. And it's almost like my daughter would say, "What the hell?" You know, it just seems like the more I learn, the more I need to do. You know, the more that I go through, the more that I need to be of assistance to others. So I've actually figured out that parental alienation, that's part of narcissistic abuse. The whole control thing. The fact that they know that they're harming the child, but they don't care. They just need to feel like they're in control. I talked about this earlier. The black sheep of the family. You know, when you think about it, that is based on domestic narcissistic abuse. You got all these people piling up on this one person because they don't want the truth to get out about their dysfunction. So what they do is they ostracize this person. They treat this person like garbage. You know, they try to devalue this person. They just tear down everything about them because just like in an interpersonal domestic narcissistic abusive relationship, meaning a couple, you know, it's the same process. And then ultimately the discard where they actually disown that person. You know, that's not part of the family. They don't want to get down to dysfunction. What the hell is wrong with them? We've been doing this dysfunction for years. Then as you find out about dealing with your shadow, it's like, oh my God, how many people actually know about this? Much less understand what they're going through, putting a name to their pain. Not only that, but all the other stuff, all the other wrinkles, their shadows, you know, why they're empaths, why this person is a narcissist, why this person is doing this. Most people don't understand this. I told you, I've been through 3 of these. The first 2, I had no freaking clue. Just that I listened to my nervous system and got the hell out. But this one, I was able to put a name to it. And I honestly think, once again, the universe is doing it on purpose. I had to learn about this. Some mornings I get up and I'll just put on audio books based on Carl Jung. You know, I still listen to Grim Face Motivation because that's the fuel besides coffee that keeps me going. But yeah, as I learn more, I'm like, oh my God, there's somebody out there. I just found about this today, and you know, there's somebody out there that has no clue. Let me get this information out there. So I put it in audiobooks, I do clips, and it's never really been about content. It's just a way to get the message across. Social media is king right now. So if you have a message that you need to pass, that's how you do it. You do it through social media. Everything that I put up has a message. I think out of every 100 posts, I might take a break and put up something that made me laugh or share something that somebody put up that made me laugh. I just want people to become the best versions of themselves. Nothing more, nothing less. I think that actually helps the world. I think it helps us all if we're positive thinking individuals, if we adhere to the fact that we're chosen. I think we want the same thing. And back to my daughter saying, what the hell? What the hell means, how am I going to handle all of this? I am meeting more people. And more people, they see what I'm doing and they want me to throw my hat in the ring. And I'm not upset and I'm not mad. But I can't be every place, every day, every time. I can't. You know, we all have the same 24 hours. So I'm actually looking for survivors, people that have survived this craziness to, for lack of a better term, be of assistance. See, I think we could run healing circles, not just online, but across the country. I think that you would agree there's a need for people, just like they have AA meetings. There's a need for people to get through this hurdle in their life so that they can become better, if that makes sense. So why can't we have healing circles across the country, in every community, in every neighborhood? No, I mean, narcissistic abuse, it takes place all over in every financial area of people's lives. There's a multi-billionaire right now that that might be going through narcissistic abuse. So why can't we, being the chosen ones that understand this, that have survived this, why can't we be of assistance to others? Why can't we help others? And then it all boils down to the hope that they will have the same freaking idea and say, hey, listen, you got me out. Maybe I can be of assistance. Maybe I can help someone else out of the fog. I love trickle-down effects, except when Reagan talked about it. I didn't like this. But I digress. The trickle-down effect is awesome. You know, I'm actually in talks with other authors saying, hey, listen, are you able to turn your book into an audio book so that others can benefit from your knowledge? You know, I am, as much as, you know, I hear my daughter's voice in my head saying, what the hell? Every time I talk to somebody, I say, hey, listen, you know what? I think that, you know, if we can come up with a time and schedule, maybe I can sit down with your clients and maybe we can have like an unofficial support, survivor to survivor. Because physicians and regular physicians, medical physicians and mental health physicians are seeing that this is a problem. They're seeing that this is a problem. And it's affecting so many people in different parts of their lives. There are people that are deciding that this existence isn't for them and they're trying to find a fast way to the other existence. And the narcissist just goes on with their life, still smearing that person that, in the name of an illusion of love, they've decided that this reality no longer serves them. This is what I'm trying to put a stop to. And this is why every once in a while I'll say, hey, listen, go listen to audio, go to the Healing Library, listen to an audiobook, send me a review, so that way people will go buy the physical copy. See, the audiobook is free, but they'll buy the physical copy from a bookstore or Amazon or wherever, and that helps the movement grow. Hey, listen, if you've got an hour a week, if you've got a facility, if you've got a restaurant, if you've got a place where you can hold a healing circle to help others, sometimes just unburden themselves from the pain that they are experiencing and have experienced. If you can help out with that, hey, let's have a conversation. Let's talk. You know, there are people out there that, you know, they want to be on Survivor Story Saturday TV, which I'm starting January 1st. I'm restarting it. I'm sending out forms and everything. Got to move the website around because, as my daughter would say, what the hell? There's just stuff all over the place, and it needs to, as we grow, you kind of got to get stuff in order, you know, because it's like there was a time period where there was like a new initiative every week. It was brand new. What do you do? You know, it's like the first time you take like your toddler shopping, it's like you don't know how to stop. You just keep on pulling. It's like that look nice to me. That, hey, let's try this on. It's the same thing with the Now movement. You know, we went through that stage where we wanted to be there for everyone, but again, my daughter, what the hell? I can't do it all on my own. So it's not always about financial support. That helps. I got to GoFundMe. There's always a Cash App someplace. If that's your comfort zone, please, I'm not going to stop you at all. But I need boots on the ground. I need other empaths on the ground going out there doing the critical work. Not saying that funding isn't critical, because it actually is, okay? But at the same time, I need boots on the ground, face-to-face communication, because I feel that once you run the gamut of seeing everything that you can possibly see online, you kind of want to make sure that you're not crazy and you're not just a one-off experiencing this on your own. Sometimes when you're in the presence of other empaths, other people that get it, you feel like, okay, there's somebody that understands this. I'm not completely cray-cray as my abuser tried to get me to believe. There's so much that we can do. There's so much that we want to do, but it is dependent on how you feel about it. How you feel as if you listened to an audiobook and this actually gave you some clarity. If you watched a Survivor Story Saturday and you was like, yeah, this is what I'm going through. Yeah, I can actually say, yep, that's me. Or if you listen to or watch one of the breakdowns and like where there's just facts, not feelings, and like, well, now that he put it through the lens of factual evidence, yeah, no matter what this person says, they're a narcissist. Or if you're just a spiritual person and just don't want to see people, their life being antagonized by demons, hey, it's a real thing. I don't think the creator would put something down here purposely like this, to actually trick a person into thinking that they love them and that the love was basically, hey, listen, I love you, you love me, we're soulmates. I don't think that would happen. We can do this. We can do this. We can take this to the next level. We don't need any permission. We don't need any sign-offs. I think us understanding that we're chosen, us understanding that we're empaths, and us understanding that we get something from this too, meaning that we get to, and many of us need to do it. I'm going to tell you, I'm not going to lie to you, many of us need to deal with that demon. We've got to deal with that demon, that shadow inside of us that we have basically acted like it didn't exist, but it's there. The more I listen to Carl Jung, the more he makes sense. I don't know what the hell Freud was getting upset about. It's like, yo, dude is making some sense here, and it comes up almost like facts. Well, in my mind, it is facts. I actually found 3 turning points that created the person that I am now by sitting down, having like these long, drawn out, silent discussions with my shadow. Why do I feel this way? Who made me feel this way? When did it happen? Where did it happen? How did it happen? That's my new thing now, the 5 questions to figure out. I think we can figure out most of our problems with the 5 questions, and I'll get into that at the beginning of the year. But I just wanted to sit down and talk about it. It's not an official video. If you feel a certain way about what I'm saying, put it in comments. Let me know your feelings. If you want to be of assistance, if you want to be that empath that gets others out the fog, put it in the comments. I think it's a good thing. And I'll get in contact with you super duper fast. And we'll figure out how we can make other people understand what now means. No other way but forward. No more falling back and going back to your abuser. No more, staying stagnant. No more laying in a fetal ball wondering what the hell happened. Freaking clarity is wonderful. Once you get it, you understand the importance of moving forward. With that being said, I got more work to do. I got to put on another pot of coffee that will help set up this pantry. Hey, listen. The reason why I do this is because I want you guys to keep healing. I want you guys to stay powerful. But most importantly, the reason why I do everything I do. Love you guys.
Welcome to the N.O.W. movement, powered by the Church of Real Talk. I'm so glad you're here. You didn't land here by accident. You landed here because something inside you knows it's time to heal. For so many survivors, life after narcissistic abuse feels confusing, heavy, and honestly, lonely. You start questioning your worth, wondering if freedom is even possible. But let me tell you, it is. You are not crazy. You are not broken. And you are not alone. Together, we can break the cycle and build something stronger. That's why the N.O.W. movement exists. We're here to give you tools that are simple, real, and ready to use right now. Every single week, we release a brand new survival guide, not a book full of fluff or theory, but short, practical steps you can actually take when the narcissist tries to trigger you. It's like having a shield in your back pocket. And each week, that shield gets stronger. And listen, I know healing takes time. Some days are harder than others. But when you have clear steps, and you know someone has your back, the road doesn't feel so heavy anymore. And that's just the start. Alongside the survival guides, you'll find the Narcissist Radar Test. a simple tool that reveals hidden patterns of control. You'll also get instant access to No More Chains, our free audiobook that walks you step by step through spotting, stopping, and surviving narcissistic abuse. And if you're ready to go deeper, you can book a one-on-one healing session. That's where we sit with you, hear your story, and build strategies tailored just for your journey. This is more than just information, this is transformation. So here's your next step. Grab your free guide today, explore the resources, and lock arms with us as we build a community of survivors who are turning pain into power. Stay powerful, stay locked in.